Hi, and welcome to Leadershipisation, all things leadership. I'm Beth Bergen, and I help executives and managers build their influence through powerful communication and leadership so that they lead cohesive teams, so that they're easily able to drive results, and they also at the same time increase their visibility in the organization that they're working with and in the networks that they have established. I am here live most Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're coming up to daylight savings soon. I think it's about 6 weeks away, but I'll keep you fully informed about that when we get closer to it. So last week, what we did was we examined 5 foundational leadership skills. We looked at listening, we looked at the importance of clear communication, we looked at making decisions, we looked at giving recognition, we also looked at supporting growth. And what I did was I teased each of them apart and we looked at how you might start to do that as a leader with your team. What we did was we shifted away from all of those fancy words and phrases and into the weeds of the what and the how. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the other 5 that I've put in this group of 10 foundation leadership skills. Now, when you've heard these other 5, you might decide that there are more. If you think that there are more and you'd like me to discuss them, yell out, put something in the chat, in the platform that you're watching this on, and we'll respond to you, but we'll also be really sure to include them in an upcoming leadershipisation. So the first one here for us to look at today is this: empowering others. So we've got the listening, communication with clarity, making decisions, recognition, growth, and this one is empowering others. Now, this is really aligned to supporting growth. And what you'll notice today is that virtually every single thing that we're looking at, every single one of these 5 additional skills will really build on the first 5 that we looked at. So this one is really aligned to supporting growth, because what we do is we disempower others by doing things for them all the time, by making decisions for them. We actually disempower them, even though to us it might feel, oh, I'll just do it myself. Don't worry, I'll do it. We really disempower them, and we actually are also stopping their opportunities for growth. Now, what I want you to think about is how much trust you might actually be demonstrating to someone when you give them that autonomy, because people will learn and grow through their experience. When we're making those decisions and doing the things for them, they're not having the opportunity to learn and grow. So you need to actually be really, really reliable in doing this for your team so that they see, oh, okay, I can count on that leader to give me these challenges. Make sure that as part of that consistency and reliability, that you're providing really clear communication, that you're providing the tools and the resources and the support that they need, that you're mentoring or guiding or giving them training opportunities. And what you do by empowering them is bring them into a greater understanding of what you're wanting them to do, but also a greater understanding of their own potential moving forward. So what we're doing, as I said, is using all of those 5, that listening, that clear communication, that decision making, that recognition, and that growth is all brought together in empowering others. The second foundational skill is solving problems. Now, obviously, this is also linked to decision making and empowerment, because what we want you to do is to collaborate to solve problems as a team so that no one feels as though they're solving these problems, any problems by themselves. Now, to do this, as the leader, it's really important that you adapt a problem-solving mindset, that you adapt a mindset that is about what can we learn from this situation? How can we resolve the situation, rather than a blaming mindset. Now, often it's easier to blame other people for things. Don't want you to be doing that. It's also important that you come back to the statement I made earlier. If you solve everything for everyone, then you're actively disempowering them. So what I recommend you do is to provide a bit of a model or a problem-solving process that everyone can get really comfortable using. And this will be things like, really define the problem clearly, gather the data, use some questioning strategies or the 5 whys strategies, and have plenty of open communication. As the leader, it's important that you assign ownership to various tasks, particularly if you want to see that collaboration happening. Because if you're bringing the collaboration together, and you're bringing the team together rather to collaborate, then if different people have various tasks and they've got ownership for them, the other members of the team get to see them shine. Provide the resources and the support, make sure that you celebrate those successes, and work towards building that problem-solving culture in your team. And, when I was saying before, you want to be thinking about having that kind of problem-solving mindset. That's all about thinking what could and might go right rather than what might go wrong. So we want to be thinking from the perspective of what else do we need to do to be able to resolve this problem. Okay, as I said, we're bringing the other 6 that we've covered so far into play. Number 3 is giving feedback. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a session about asking for valuable feedback that will absolutely serve you. That's kind of different from this, because that was you asking out and up for feedback that's going to be valuable for you. This is about you in your leadership role giving feedback to others. However, many of the frameworks around this are pretty much exactly the same. You want your feedback to be specific. You want it to be timely, so close to when the event actually happened. You want it to be constructive feedback. So it's about things that you've observed, the observable behaviors and the impact of these. Again, right place, right time. Often it's better to provide some feedback one-on-one. Don't provide really unclear feedback on a Friday when the person can percolate and be worrying about it all weekend. So make sure that that's really clear communication on your part. Be authentic, be sincere, be direct, but also be kind, because it's all about providing that feedback so that we can look at what might be ongoing improvement. Even if someone's done something really well, there's always more that they can learn. So it's about that ongoing improvement and how you, in your role as a leader, can support this. Also, make sure that then what you do is follow up. Follow up, check in with them. How did you go with that plan that we worked out? And celebrate things. So make it, if you do this often enough, it becomes the norm. And what will happen is that you're going to feel much more comfortable then about asking for their feedback about how you're going as a leader. It's awesome for you to get that feedback as well. Okay? Number 4, we're on fire here. We're getting through them quite quickly. Number 4, holding people accountable. Oh, this is a big one. It's a really big one. You can't hold people accountable if you haven't provided them with really clear communication about what your expectations of them are. You can't hold them accountable unless they fully understand what it is that you're expecting them to do. So the reason this one follows on from number 3 is because you need to be providing consistent feedback here. And you can use something like, one methodology to hold people accountable is what's called a RACI. And this is a matrix where, responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So check out that RACI matrix. And if you don't like it, use some adaptation of it because what the RACI does is it clarifies and it allocates those specific roles and responsibilities, particularly if it's a larger project that you're doing. Now, with accountability, when you're holding people accountable, what's really important is that you focus on the behavior. You must focus on the behavior. A clue here. Sometimes it's really easy to look as though there is an awful lot going on, and actually there's not much going on. People can be very busy being busy. Busy is not outcomes. Activity is not outcomes. So it's important that what you understand is that even outputs, the things that people are doing, which are the outputs, are not outcomes. And it's the outcomes that you've clearly communicated to them that will help you to hold the individual accountable. You're giving them autonomy, you're giving them trust, you're giving them recognition, you're giving them feedback, you're listening, and there's clear communication. All of those things contribute to holding someone accountable. So it's all these foundational skills are really starting to come together now. Number 5, be an inspiring role model. Now, people say, why is this a foundational leadership skill? That seems really crazy. I have a very firm belief that you can lead from any chair in an organization, that you don't have to have a title in order to be a leader. And, a topic potentially for a future leadershipization could well be, well, how do I lead from any chair then, Beth? But this is all about you wherever you are, but because you have a leader or a manager role, looking at giving people room to grow and to learn from their own errors, from their own mistakes, of being prepared to lift others up, modeling the kinds of behaviors that you desire. Like if what you're doing is asking your whole team to use a particular piece of software to record information into it so you can hold them accountable, and you're not prepared to use that piece of software, they won't. Why should they? You're not role modeling appropriate behavior to them. So it's also about getting involved and being proactive about helping your team to work on the things that they need to be working on. Because when you're kind of in the weeds and amongst the project a little bit more, That's when you can show appreciation. That's when you can be actively listening to what's going on. And that's when, as a proactive leader, because you're listening, you can then go and put some of those things that you're hearing about into action. And that builds that trust, that builds that respect between you and your team. Another foundational skill that sits under this inspiring role model, or another aspect of that, is building that self-awareness. Now, if you've been watching Leadershipization for some time, you'll know that for me, good leadership, that leadership intelligence that I talk about all the time, it begins with self-leadership. Self-leadership begins with self-awareness. And the higher your self-awareness and your ability to lead yourself is, the better leader I believe that you will be, because you can be positive, you can be patient, and you certainly will be persistent. It's important, whatever stage of your leadership journey that you're on, that you look to utilize all 10 of these foundational skills, and that you continue to build your skills and knowledge. I was talking to someone the other day about the process of coaching, and we kind of, with my clients, we move through communication, we move through accountability, and we move through developing authority. And those three things contribute to that building of influence that I spoke about at the beginning of the session. And people say, oh, well, you go around the circle once and you'll have learned all you need to learn. The answer to that is no. It's almost like we're moving upwards. So we learn those things at a foundational level, we move to the next level. We go around again, building on those skills all the time. So you as a leader will serve yourself a whole heap if what you do is make a deliberate decision to utilize all those 10 foundational skills and to build your leadership intelligence. Now, if you're not getting the kind of support that you need in your workplace to do this, this is where you need to utilize a coach or to attend specific programs. Now, I've got several different programs that I would love to talk to you about. I've got my Leadership and Communication Accelerator. I've got my Say It Smarter program, which are small group programs. And I'm also almost ready to launch what I'm calling my Fast Fix. I haven't come up with a beautiful name for it yet, but I know that based on the 10 foundational skills that we've talked about, I know that there will be areas in your leadership that we can strengthen. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to have a conversation with you about what I can deliver that would best meet your needs. And so what you'll find is that there's been a link dropped in the chat here where you're watching it, so that if you'd like to connect with me, it's just a simple matter of, click that, you'll get to my calendar, and let's make a time to chat. So thank you for being here today and paying attention to the 10 foundational leadership skills. If you've got any questions or comments, please pop them into the platform that you're watching this on. If you're watching replay, #replay, and we will get back and connect with you. Thank you so much. I'll see you again next week. Bye now.